Hey, what's going on, guys? Shane here, back with Bob. And check it out. I walked into the gym today and I was like, Bob, you're evolving. You got arms sprouting out of your shoulders now? So I thought, let's use that for today's video. We're going to talk about grabbing our opponent's forearms and pulling them into the knee. Because today's video is going to be focusing on the difference between the Dutch-style kickboxing knee and the more traditional Muay Thai knee. Both long-range knees, they can also be thrown in the clinch as well. And we're going to talk about not just how to do them, but also why we see them being applied in different styles. Let's take a look. Alright guys, so the first style knee that we're going to take a look at today is the one that we see more commonly in kickboxing, in K1. It's the one that the Dutch-style kickboxers tend to use more often. We'll talk about how to throw it first, and then we're going to break down why we see it more often in kickboxing as opposed to traditional Muay Thai. Okay? So first, let's take a look at this kickboxing style knee. Again. Once more. Okay, so let's break down how to do it. First thing that you see me do is I'm taking a marching step or a cheat step towards my opponent. The reason why I do this is because now the knee is long range, right? If I can touch Bob with my jab, I should be able to touch him with my knee from here. But we're not going to hang out in the range at which we can hit each other. We're going to hang just outside of that range, right? I can't hit him with the jab yet. I can't hit him with the knee yet. So I have to take this cheat step and just move towards him a little bit more. So that's step number one. Now let me just say, if he's rushing towards me, I can stand my ground, right? If he's running in at me, I can keep that foot here, and bang, he runs into my knee. But if I'm on the offensive, if I'm moving towards him, if I'm moving into his range, I gotta take that cheat step. Okay, so that's step number one. Take this small cheat step towards my opponent. Now we need to start to get that rotation of the shoulders. So, as I lift the knee up, I want you to just turn your chest and your shoulders towards the side that's kneeing. I'm kneeing with my right leg, I'm turning my chest towards my knee. Simple, all right? So we don't even have to land the knee yet. I just want you to think about doing that. Bang. Now you also notice that I'm going up onto the ball of my foot. I'm lifting my heel off the ground. That's just going to give me a little bit more range. It's going to give me a little bit more of that hip pop. Okay? Now I can touch him with it. Now, we got to just modify it a little bit more because we want to be more protected up top. If I'm moving into Bob while he's throwing punches and my hands are down here, I may hit him with the knee, but I may also get caught with one of his punches and get knocked out, right? No good. Because I'm on one leg, I'm off balance, so I gotta make sure I'm protected. So what I'm going to do is the opposite arm. So if I'm kneeing with my right leg, the left arm is gonna come across and I'm gonna protect my jaw with that. All right, I'm gonna bring my elbow up to face it right at Bob as I do it. The opposite hand is gonna stay up high. Now, naturally, as you start to fatigue, or if you're not concentrating on it, you're gonna swing this arm down. It's going to happen. The highest level fighters do this. Just know that you're compromising your guard a little bit. It's more likely they're going to land a punch if they throw one. If we keep it up here, we're just a little bit more protected. And the other reason why I like it, as you saw earlier on, I can follow up with a cross right from here. As opposed to down here, now it has to come up and over. All right, just one more step. So if we combine all of these, we take the cheat step, we turn our chest and shoulders, and we protect ourselves with our arm and both arms. While rising up onto the ball of the foot, it should look something like this. Back and back. Back and back. And if you're practicing in shadowboxing, you don't have Bob or a partner or a heavy bag to hit, I want you to practice throwing it and coming back into your stance. Try not to throw it and always fall forward. Find your balance, all right? So you need to find that balance of thrusting the hips, leaning the upper body back, and then coming right back to your guard. All right, so practice that for 10 reps. Back. Bang, bang. You follow up with that cross if you'd like. Now the reason why we see this one more often in kickboxing is because of a couple different reasons. The first one is because these fighters are just used to that motion, that twisting of the hips and shoulders, right? A lot of common Dutch style kickboxing combos are something like punch, punch, kick. Or on the opposite side, punch, punch, kick. So they're used to that rotation, right? I throw the cross, I rotate my hips and shoulders for the hook. I rotate my hips and shoulders for the kick. I throw the hook. I twist my shoulders for the cross. I twist my hips and shoulders for the kick. It's the same motion. We're just doing that instead of extending the leg for the kick. We're just lifting the knee up. All right. So again, let's say I go hook, cross. Now I'm going to twist my hips and shoulders back, and then fire off that knee to the body. Okay. The other reason is because they have more of a bladed stance. Because they favor those punches. They like going for punch to kick combos. So now from this bladed stance, it's easier for me to throw this knee from here even if my hips are facing that way, away from Bob, right? In traditional Muay Thai, my hips are going to be facing directly at Bob, my right and my left hip. But now, in this kickboxing stance, to be able to throw a knee from here, I kind of have to go on a different trajectory. It goes more upward, but it also can change this angle. Right? I'm not kneeing that way, I'm going this way, so I can go across. And by twisting the hips and the shoulders, now it's coming right to the target, okay? The last thing I want to talk about is how this style knee, it's not exclusive to kickboxing. We can still use it in traditional Muay Thai, right? Let's say we're in the clinch and I'm just turned a little bit, I can still throw from there. The trajectory comes upward on an angle, which is good for the solar plexus, good for the ribs, but it's also good if his head is low. If I can pull his head down and catch him with that, or maybe we're just in the exchange and he rolls underneath and he bobs and weaves and his head's down low, and then I follow up with a knee. Great one there, all right? So those are a couple reasons why we see that style knee in kickboxing, but now let's talk about how to do the traditional Muay Thai knee. All right, now let's focus on the more traditional Muay Thai knee. So let's throw a couple so you can see what it looks like. Gotta make the sound effects with it too. Once more. Okay, so again, we're gonna start with that marching step, all right? Stab the ball of the foot into the ground. That's gonna lift the heel off the ground. It's gonna give me some range. It's gonna give me some pop in my hip. Again, if he's rushing towards me, yes, I can stand my ground and he can run right into it. But if I need to cover the distance, I need to take that step. Okay, now, first things first is we need to make sure that our hips, both of them, are facing our opponent. If I'm doing it from a bladed stance like we did in the Dutch kickboxing style, this one isn't gonna work because when I do it, I need to pop both of my hips forward. And if my hips aren't facing him, then I'm not gonna hit him. All right, so I'm gonna adjust a little bit, and you can do this mid-fight. You don't always have to stand very squared. I can be bladed and then switch. See, notice how my hips now are both facing him, bang, and then I follow through, okay? So step one is we're gonna take that marching step, but we have to be in a squared stance when we do it. All right, so I can go from bladed to squared, take that marching step, and march forward. Now, what we do with our arms is much different. Instead of rotating, we're going to reach up towards the sky. And what I'm doing here is I'm simulating grabbing Bob's arms, which is kind of, wait, hold that thought, I got an idea. Yes. Aha! This is so crazy, it just might work. There we go. Alright, so let's just say that Bob's got some nub arms here, but something to give you a little more realistic visualization of how to throw this knee. So if Bob's guard is up very awkwardly, what we're doing when we reach up is I can grab the front of his gloves, like right on his knuckles, and pull down, pull him into the knee, or I can reach around and grab right at the forearm and pull him into the knee. So I come up, bang, and I don't want to pull too hard because I know I'm going to rip his arms off. Pull him into the knee. This one I like a lot is because it's a little bit more of a long guard or a trapping of the arms as opposed to just built-in defense like we had with the kickboxing. The built-in defense is nice because we're not going to eat direct punches to the face, hopefully, but they still can punch our arms, they can still knock us off balance, and we've seen that a lot where a fighter will throw a knee, but since they're on one leg and they take a big hit on the arm or the shoulder, it still may knock them off balance. But if I can trap his hands and stop him from throwing punches altogether, and then also use that as leverage to pull him into my knee, it's a win-win, it's a double bonus. So I go, bang, pull him into the knee. I march into the knee, okay? So let's go step by step again. I take this initial marching step, I stab the ball of my foot into the ground. My arms come up over my head because I want to get over his gloves or his arms. And I can pull down on the tops of his gloves, or I can reach past to the forearms and pull him into this knee. My hips thrust forward, and you probably also notice that I tilt the tea kettle, as I've heard it referred to, where I like turning the knee out. Similar to the way that we corkscrew a punch, it's going to give us a little more pop on the hip and a little bit more range. So we're going to bring our heel up to our butt and turn the knee out. However, sometimes I don't even bring my knee or my heel to my butt. Sometimes I leave it like a 90-degree bend and I hit with the top of my shin. All right, so that looks like this. Once again. One more time, I'm going to pull on the arms now. Oh, nice, Bob. All right. One last detail to cover is the trajectory of the knee. With the kickboxing knee, it comes at a steady upward trajectory. Again, we still want to impale them and go through and aim for the spine. But with the Muay Thai knee, at least with this style one that I'm teaching, it comes up and then forward, or up and almost slightly down. All right, so you can notice that when I do it, I come up and then it kind of goes down into the target. So up, back, and through. Up, back. All right, you can find pros or cons for this. Maybe this seems like a little bit of a slower knee, but kind of that broken tempo makes it sneaky and it actually lands more often. So again, don't disregard it, don't get rid of it until you've tried it. So that's how to throw that knee, and again, it's just gonna take reps. This is another one that I would like for you to practice, not just on a heavy bag, but also in shadow boxing. This is one that you can do marching knees up and back, or again, we can do the same as we did before. Bang, just throw the knee and come right back to guard. Bang, right back to guard. Bang. Or we could do the marching knees where we're just going up and back in a line, which looks like this. Bang, 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 bang. Good way to get the rhythm down before you start to worry too much about balance. But again, both are equally important. All right, so why do we see this one more traditional in Muay Thai? Well, we talked about the stance, right? Because in Muay Thai, we're gonna have a much more squared stance where instead of both feet facing in the same direction, usually one foot is facing to the left and the rear foot is facing out to the right. If I'm in southpaw, obviously it's gonna be opposite. But the reason for this is because there's a lot of kicks, low kicks, body kicks, and it's very easy for me to check from here as opposed to going from here, turning it up and out. Just one more added step, it's a little bit further, it's gonna take more time. So if I'm from here, bang, it's easy for me to throw kicks, it's easy for me to check kicks coming in, teeps and knees. So again, it's because of their stance that this knee is more common. Again, it's a little sneaky too, and that's why I like this one. When I go like this, they don't know what I'm setting up. I could be coming for an elbow, to pull down on the hands for an elbow, pulling down for a punch, or I could be pulling them into the knee. As opposed to just mixing it into my combo, again, I'm defended, but I'm not occupying them. I want to occupy their hands. I want to shut down two of their weapons, right? The art of 8 limbs, let's take 2 of them away. So we're going to take the 2 arms away. Comes up, pull them into the knee, shut them down. Like I said, it's a win-win. All right, guys, thanks for watching. So remember, these are just 2 styled knees. Whether you throw it at more of an angle, it's round, or it thrusts forward, that's completely up to you. All you really need to think about is smashing your kneecap or the top of your shin into a vulnerable part of your opponent. How it gets there is up to you. These are just the optimal biomechanics of making it happen from these long-range knees. All right. Don't forget that we have a full striking course that I released called the Hybrid Striking Course for the members on fighttips.com. It's $7 a month to get full access to that course and all of the other courses on there. I highly recommend it if you're a fan of the Fight Tips YouTube channel. You will also get access to the Fight Tips forum to connect directly with me, with Coach Vince, and all of the other fighters on there. So check it out. Link is in the description below. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. Until next time, I'm Shane and this is Bob. Fight Tips for the underdogs. Do the Predator, Arnold, and Carl Weathers handshake. You son of a bitch.